hi, Ginger Cook here. Do you ever get in an art funk or you're just feeling a little down? Well, I'm in a little bit of an art funk, but you and I are together going to paint this rendition of a Renoir, some Renoir Gladiolus, of wonderful flowers in a blue vase. And perhaps we will raise our spirits up together, and I'll explain a little bit about why I'm in the funk, and maybe help you from getting in a funk like that too, because it's kind of an interesting story. So we're doing an acrylic painting step by step. It's going to be really easy. You're going to love it, and perhaps you'll help me get out of my funk too. See you in a second.
And now, without further ado, I have the distinguished honor and privilege of presenting to you the Queen of Color, the Mother of Artists, globally acclaimed, award-winning master acrylic artist, and the star of our show, Ginger Cook, as she once again mesmerizes her audience with the daring do's and don'ts of painting with acrylics.
Well, this is kind of a double funk, you guys, tonight, because the double funk is I started to tell you all about my funk and recorded it, and then got this far with the picture, and John said we have no sound, so we have to do it again. Thus, we have the palette that's already mixed a few colors. So that's funk one, just funk one. Now, funk two is we'll tell you about in a second. In the meantime, I'm going to share with you. Renoir did these Gladiolus, and he ran them all the way up to the top of the canvas, and I did too on my trial run here, and I decided I didn't like it. Now, I don't know why he did that. Sometimes some of these old masters' paintings, people just cut them right out of the frame, and so maybe there was more canvas originally than we're seeing. But anyway, I was looking at that, and I thought that if we did this on a 9x12 canvas, it would be ever so much better than doing it on an 8x10. So also, he had a bunch of grapes and peaches and so forth, and some flowers on the vases. It was very busy, and so I've simplified this, but I think you're going to enjoy painting it. Like I say, we're going to do it on a little bit bigger canvas. We want to go into the olive greens up here. I want to take about probably about 4 fingers here and just a little piece of chalk, come across here like that, maybe up a few more, and say, here's our fabric. And so we want this green background all the way down to here. And one of the, we're using the colors, all right? We're using Magenta, Cad Red medium, Cad Yellow medium, Yellow Oxide, Titanium White, Dioxazine Purple, Phthalo Blue Green shade if you're using Liquitex, or just Phthalo Blue and Ultramarine Blue, and a new color called Raw Umber, and we're going to age this picture. So we've got, as you can see from this background already painted, we're going for this sort of long stripes, and we want to make this look nice and old. I didn't age this one as well, the one I was doing. We're going to age this a little bit. So to make an olive green, you've got to use yellow oxide. It has a little bit of red in it, ultramarine blue, maybe a tiny bit of the mother color, which is the raw umber, and come on down here like this, and let's just start painting in these greens, all right? And I like the blue background, because if a little of this shows through, it's very pretty. If you look at his, you see a little bit of blue background showing through. I'm using a damp brush, but not a wet one. So again, we're just changing the different greens as we go. Come all the way down here like that. And I'll tell you about why I'm in kind of a funk. Well, besides the sound, is the sound working now, Mr. Little?
Hello, hello. Yes, it appears to be working.
Okay. So, we've shot whole videos and had no sound, so this is actually catching it early.
Yeah.
And we caught some else early. Back when, about 2 months ago, John and I were traveling, and we got an email from a gentleman who worked on an oil rig, he said, and that his wife loved our artwork, and he'd like to surprise her with a painting. They were moving to the Philippines. He thought it would be a nice gift for his new home. And what paintings did we have available for sale? And we gave him a list of stuff and the prices. He wanted something fairly large, and we settled on something for about fairly good a bit of money. And then he said, don't worry about the shipping. He would handle the shipping. And I thought, because he was on a oil rig, perhaps he had a special deal if he was moving. You know, sometimes like the military, you see me putting a little raw umber in these colors. sometimes like in the military, that happens where someone's in the military and the government just ships stuff for you. So I was thinking, so then when he said he would add the shipping cost to the check he was sending, I'm thinking like $100. Well, the check came today, finally. This took about 2 months to negotiate and stuff, 6 weeks. The check came today, and he had certified mail, and it had an extra $2,200 on it for shipping. And he said we could give that extra to a shipping agent. It was going to cover some other stuff, too. And John went ahead and deposited the check. It came to our P.O. box. I didn't see it. Certainly glad we didn't give the guy our home address. And so then it turned out, I said, John, $2,200, it's not $100 shipping. This is something else. So I went ahead and typed in the scenario on the internet. It says, is this considered a scam? This is a scam, you guys. This is going across the country. They're hitting anybody that's selling anything on the internet. And they're willing to pay you, full price for whatever it is you're trying to sell. And then how they do it is that John said, well, the bank said that the check would be good in a couple of days. That's because we have a good relationship with our bank. But the internet said that the check could take up to 3 or 4 weeks to bounce, and then you would have already sent the product and the money, and you would these people would be long gone with your money.
And your painting.
And your painting. So now, I just was feeling so, I think when I say I'm in a funk, I should be grateful that it occurred to me that my little inner voice said, danger, danger, Will Robinson could be scammed, danger, danger. But then I thought, I'm going to share this with you guys. Because we're filming this as we film this, even though we're doing this as a live premiere, and we're with you answering questions when we first air this. This is shot, a month earlier. So this may all be over by the time you're hearing the story. So if you are getting our newsletter, our travel newsletter, and you can get that by it's free. Just go to gingercooklive.gallery and sign up for the newsletter. We'll keep you informed about what's going on, because John will have to go to the bank tomorrow, and then he will go to the bank tomorrow, and I'm going to put a little phthalo blue in here now and white and warm this up a bit with a little bit of raw umber. He's going to go to the bank tomorrow and then talk to the bank about maybe we can catch these people. Maybe we should just let it go, just to tell them not to take the money out of our account and just hold it, whatever the bank does, and let them handle it. As far as we know, it's a scam, and we're not interested in this, and we don't want to have any part of this money. And the bank can then handle it. But he'll get over there first thing in the morning. But because so many of you're selling your artwork online, and maybe on eBay, maybe some of you are selling it on off your website or off your Facebook page. This is apparently an easy scam, and I think probably seniors are being targeted more often than not, because it's easy to. My ex-husband actually got so bamboozled by somebody, and I just sort of chided him for falling for it. He actually went to the point of taking some money out of the bank before he realized it was a scam. So we live in tough times, you guys, and
everybody's trying to make a living one way or another.
And I feel bad that someone would want to steal from us. I think we're really nice people. It makes me a little sick, quite frankly. Do you see how I'm putting in the white, the raw umber, and the phthalo blue, and you see how it gets this nice sort of blue color in here? This is actually a prettier background color than I had here. You see that? See what the raw umber does? It just tones everything down, not so glaring. So anyway, very disappointing, and
but yeah, it's
but we
not
caught it,
because we realized what was going on and stopped it early.
If we'd sent the money, we just would have been out that $2,500. It was close to, how much was it? Over $2,200. I mean, that's just crazy. And these people.
Well, plus the $1,750 we still owe the bank, or whatever we we would have spent that money too, and we would have whatever the original money for the painting was, right? So we would have been out a lot of money, thinking we had it when we didn't. So, gosh, isn't that? It was. I guess I feel lucky that we know we don't have it.
And that, though I just was so pleased about the painting sale, and you guys understand that, right? I'm so excited. But let me tell you what good came out of this.
You guys are learning something.
You're learning something, and we realized that we needed a place where we could sell our larger paintings. We have something called gingercookauction.com, which we sell a lot of our small 8x10s, painting this size, or 9x12 or 16x20. Kind of keep anything about that size.
Biggest one goes 11x14 now. 16x20s are really hard to ship for us.
We haven't really done. So we keep it fairly small, but we now are going to have a website. Maybe it will be up by the time you watch this, where we will have just a gallery site where if you want to buy one of our beautiful original paintings, you can. And anyway, that's what's going on here.
And we'll have payment plans and things like that as well.
We'll have payment plans and make it possible. So, all right. So I want to come this way like that with a little bit of white. My brush is dirty, so that you see I've got sort of a soft gray color here because my brush is dirty. And I'm going to come this way with that fabric. And notice the brush strokes are kind of going this way. And let me get a little ultramarine blue in raw umber now. Just change the blue on that. He did this is more in that. We changed sort of colors when we did this. And come this way with it. And this will be kind of where our vase is. And we're going to this will be a nice painting. I think you'll like it. So let's see, a little more white.
Well, I think doing it on the 9x12 gives a little more breathing room for the Gladies at the top there.
Yeah, it just needed that. It just needed that. Even though we're not putting all the grapes and peaches and everything else,
we still want to end up with a nice painting.
We'll end up with a nice painting. And at this point, what I need to do is dry all this. But you see, this is very subtle. Can I show you the difference between my original thought?
Well, hold on a second. Let me back out a little bit.
See, my original thought and this. It's just a little more subtle with this background. I think our flowers are really going to stand out better against this background too. You watch. They really will. So we've got a little bit of this blue in here and green. It's really nice. What I'm going to do right now is dry this. And John's going to share some messages with you, and it should be, we'll be back in a flash. Okay. So in order for you to see this video, you had to get up on YouTube, and if you didn't have internet, you can't watch it, right? But sometimes we don't have internet. Maybe you're traveling and you want to be able to paint and sit there with your laptop or your iPad or your phone, and you want to sit out on a campground somewhere, or maybe go visit relatives and they live out in the boondocks and don't have good internet, and you want to still paint. Well, that's one reason, and just one of many, but certainly one great reason why you want to check out our downloadable videos that you can buy and own forever, and keep playing back, and no monthly or weekly subscription necessary. You own it forever, and we have some fabulous titles that I know you're going to love, and some aren't even in our academy. They're exclusively for our downloadable website. So check out. What's the website?
Ginger Cook on Demand.
Ginger Cook on Demand. I knew it. I just had a senior moment there. See you then. All right, so our painting's dry, but what I want to do now is just get out a chalkboard here and show you a little bit about some tricks on putting in our vase. So vases are the easiest things in the world to draw, because what you have to do is just make a rectangle and make sure that the sides are parallel to the sides of your canvas. Okay, like that. Right? You can see my rectangle. And then maybe you're going to say that, so you want, the front of the vase is maybe it's going to curve in like this. So you might just make that kind of S, kind of backwards S, I guess, there like that, right? So whatever you do on that side, just this is where you said the curve started here, figure out how far in you have to go, like here, just draw a line like that, figure out the in. See there? So now there, we're going to round this side too, and just cut the corners off in the same way. And then if you're going to say this is more of a picture than a vase, perhaps you wouldn't have this go up that far. Perhaps you might change it a little bit straighter and just say, here's the lip of our picture, like that. And then just come on down, figure out where you're going to, a little question mark here for the handle. So you're going to see this part of the handle, and then you'll see this part of the handle, like that, and then here it'll come back to this part. See? So there's your handle, and then that's your, kind of erase the corners, and there's your vase. So if you didn't want it that wide, then you would make a smaller rectangle. Does that make sense? So if you said you wanted your vase, you can really make it any size. Just figure out the size of your rectangle, and then you're good to go. So that's how you do that. I thought that would be helpful. So I think on this one, I want, and if I look at the widest part of my vase is about, it's really about 3 inches wide. And that's the widest part. And I'm going to kind of center it a little bit over here. Let's say it's about 3 inches wide right here, about like that. That's the widest part. So if I just come down here like this, I know I want it to be seated down in here. Okay, so I'm just gonna, I want it a little bit wider. I'm going to come out a little bit from my rectangle this time, on this side, and come out on this side, like that. And I don't think I can see that chalk. Maybe I can see it here. Here, let's just try this. Can you see me like this? Can you see what we're doing here? Like that. Here's our handle. And then we're going to do a little spout here. And see if do you think I'm too low? I think I'm a little low. I'm a little low. But you know what? That's all fixable. Let's come up about, let's start at least 3 fingers up. Let's say that's the bottom, about 3 fingers up. So we'll just come up a little higher, like that. There we go. I don't want this too big, but we're just going to come up. Here's some other chalk. I think I can use some blue chalk. I don't think you can see this. Okay. Here's our vase like this. And then here's our handle. And there's going to be a shadow under here like that. And then we're going to have a couple lemons right here, kind of in front of this. We're going to have some lemons like that, just 2 lemons. And we're not quite, we're a little narrow. Well, we're wider here. We're wider here, so. Okay.
It looks like you're a fatter vase this time.
I think I'm a fatter vase. Well, we can fix that too. Let's just make the vase a little thinner. I think I got it. So the reason we use chalk is because it erases. And we're already in these colors, so it erases pretty easily. So if it smears a little blue on my picture, I'm not too worried about it. So, all right, so let's come in here like that. So there's the vase. There we go. Just came in just a little bit. There. All right, so there's my vase. And then my flowers are going to come off and up of it, and I still want my 2 lemons. He did grapes, and I just felt lemons were nicer, so I'm doing those. You know.
4 grapes.
So there we go. So this is what we've got so far. We can paint that in, and I'll just do a smaller brush. Here's a 1/2 inch angle, and I think I'm going to go with a little bit of umber blue and white, ultramarine blue and white. Okay, sort of this gray blue color, and that's kind of nice. Maybe a tiny bit of phthalo in that, warm that up. All right, so here's my vase. I'm going to just come along here like that and paint that in. That's just my first color on it now. Okay, I just need something in here. One side's going to be, the light's coming from the right, I believe, on this. So we're going to, well, actually his light source is a little screwy, but we're going to say the light's coming from kind of this way, kind of in from the front right, front left, I meant, oh, my other right. The right-hand side is in shadow. So let's take a little bit of ultramarine blue and raw a tiny bit of purple. Say this is the darkest side of my pitcher. Maybe I want to say pitcher instead of vase, yeah. Now what happens when you paint over chalk is it starts to pick up on your brush like sand. So that is the downside of painting over chalk. So every once in a while you have to kind of clean your brush or you're just going to be inundated with that. And I want a little bit of this dark shadowy color. I'm going to put some magenta in it and say that here is my shadow. A little more blue than that. A little translucent color. I'm saying here's my shadow color under my vase. Like that. Let's take a little bit of white with that. So I don't want it that dark. I want a little shadow. I want my shadow color to be lighter as it goes away from the vase, and I can always change that, but something like this. And I want a little bit of this purple in here too. This vase has got some really pretty colors in it. A little bit of magenta and ultramarine blue, and let's see, a little white. Mix that right on the canvas. There we go. So that's a start with it, okay? That's the start. And it's very dark back here, so it's a little magenta and ultramarine blue. And this is our darkest part of the vase. I really want this darker than I had it. I'm going to come down here like this and just make sure that I've got this nice and dark. And it's going to be dark up here too, where the flowers are coming out. Here's our pith. Okay, like that. And maybe we'll just get a little bit of dark going here. Now, if we want to do much more than that, we really have to dry it. But we could put in our handle. Notice how I'm spinning the brush to do that. I'm going to wet it because I picked up the chalk. Okay. Purple and magenta, and I'm going to just... He didn't have a handle on this, but I felt we weren't putting the other things in, so we needed the handle. We weren't putting all the fruit and stuff that's over here, so I sort of needed that for balance. So, that's all right. Here's a little phthalo blue and white, and a tiny bit of raw umber, like 2%, a little more white with that. Here's some light blue. I want to come up here like this. Just put some of that in here like this. There you go. Get in the habit of not just doing one color. Just nothing is ever just one color. And then as we add more white to that, say this is the front part of our vase. And we'll just, this all blends in when it's still wet. Pretty nice. Maybe we'll do something on the lip right here. A little bit lighter on that lip. So suddenly that vase is starting to pop. Have you noticed that? So very interesting how that works. To me anyway. I don't know. It sort of is. And so what should we have done, do you think, John, when we had first gotten that inquiry?
Probably ignored it. I don't know. It was a good bill of sale. I mean,
yeah, you don't want to ignore these things. On the other hand, you don't want to ignore legitimate people that are interested in purchasing artwork. On the other hand, that's pretty discouraging too. I'm going to paint this lemon in right here, white.
Yeah, it came in with the 2,200 extra. That was really the alarm, but...
Well, this has been the week for scams. I'm telling you what, this has been the week for scams. That wasn't the first scam. We had run into another one earlier this week, and it makes me wonder about law of attraction and what I'm bringing in here. Though I have been alerted to those, the fact they're showing up at all is disturbing. Because we had another person that offered to, because we were seniors, honestly, let's just talk about this. Offered because we were seniors to
help grow our channel.
Help grow our business. He says, we don't want anything to do with your YouTube business. It'll just be, we want, products. You have a following on YouTube, and seniors like to do stuff, and we think that, companies that cater to seniors would be interested in you sponsoring maybe some stuff on you know, that we could then be helpful. But whatever you've got, your business that you have now is fine. And we talked to this person for months, and they seemed really nice and had some TV credits and all this stuff. And then you'll notice I made a kind of a light green here, and I'm going to put a little phthalo in it as we do this. I'm talking about this. Just want this sort of light green color now. I'm going to put a little of this just in the vase like that, just as a highlight. Just like that, just a little highlight right here. There you go. Okay, I got to dry this, and we'll tell you more about that scam. This is scam. This has been Scam Week on ginger.
Well, at least we're catching them.
You know, when John and I first got together and became business partners 5 years ago, and he and his wife were living in Michigan, and I was living in Houston, Texas. And through very sad circumstances, his wife passed away not too long after that. And in her memory, because she was such a generous person, Karen was such a generous person, we started a foundation in our art academy when we got that going. And it's called the Karen Little Scholarship Fund. And when you donate to that, you help other artists join the academy for a week, a month, 6 months, a year, and give them a chance for an art education that might change their life. You know, you can say, hand someone a fish they eat for a day, you know, teach them to fish they eat for a lifetime. Help someone to learn to paint and really fulfill their destiny as an artist, and consider contributing to the Karen Little Foundation Scholarship for Artists. And guess what? For every dollar you put in, we match it in our donations to help other artists prosper and really learn to paint. Okay, so I've dried this. I'm going to put in the other little lemon here while I'm thinking about it, right? I'm going to just, let's see, different brush, I believe I'm going to use. Yeah, so there we are with these. So, oh man, this has got yellow all over it. I'm telling you what, I'm in a funk. Now, you guys have got to help me get out of this funk.
A yellow funk.
This person was all, and we were thinking, well, I don't know. And then we talked to him a bunch of times, and he thought we were fun and great, and said he'd watched our show and all that stuff. You know, it sounded good. And then, you know, just, it was all new business. And, you know, of course, you can always use new business. I mean, one of our, you never know. Maybe that would have been a good thing. It seemed like a good thing at the time. And then I'm going to kind of overlap these two like this. And there's my 2 lemons, like so. And it just seemed like such a great idea. So the first thing I want to put in before I get too crazy is I want to show you where the stems are going to be for our gladiolus. I'm going to do them a little bit. I have more room now, so I've got a flower here. I want to put in this kind of a box right here where this flower is going to go, right? Like that. This flower is going to go here. I've got one here, okay? And then here I've got a stem that's going to go out this way. And then it's going to curve back up this way. And then up the top here I've got one that's curving kind of this way and coming back down. One here that's going this way. Then we've got one that's going that way, and one that's going up, kind of up this way and kind of off. All right, so these two are the top. This is a little shorter here. And then we've got one coming out this way. And then this, in the middle, this all gets filled in with flowers. There's some flowers here, some flowers here, and then all this is flowers. And you're going, okay. All right, so let's take a little bit of phthalo blue and yellow oxide, and got a pretty green there. Just a drop of raw umber to it, not much, gonna age it. And I'll kind of come up here to this one, and I want to just say a little bit more paint, a little bit of color here, a little more phthalo maybe, so it shows up a little bit darker. Right there, there. going to say there's the, I'm going to show this much of that. And on this one over here, we've got a dark stem. Let's do a little bit of raw umber and blue. And say we've got a stem coming out of here like this. And it's going up like this. There we go, something like this. And then we've got one sort of here. You're going to see some of this. And it's going to just sort of weave its way up and maybe do this. And, well, it either does that or it doesn't. Then you're going to see just part of this, a little bit lighter. And you're going to see part of this one. Let's put some white on the brush because you're going to see part of this one like that. And just using this angle brush, you're able to get these stem parts pretty well. Just make sure you're using an angle brush for this. And the same thing up here, I want to have one just kind of come in this way. This is almost a light gray color. Here like this. It just, same thing here. And then if I add some yellow and white to this one, I can come up here like that yellow oxide, and suggest that there's some flowers here. A little more ultramarine blue, and come on down to this area. Make that a little bit darker. See, there's some dark, something dark kind of in this area, okay? So that's like a little green. This is a little brighter green right here. So we want a little bit of white and yellow, right like that. Kind of make these a little wider. So there you go, you guys. This is kind of, there's some light green, there's some white in here. And that's what you're seeing here. So you got to have, that's your sort of your bones of your flowers.
The skeleton.
So as I'm telling you about the story, I'm going to give another white coat to that. So anyway, we were excited about it, and then we were talking about it, and he said, and listen, he said, we only want 15% of whatever we bring you, new business. But that seemed very generous. 15%. I know galleries take 50%, and if this business we weren't having at all, I thought that was very fair. And there were a couple of flags early on, but for instance, he had a senior citizen website that where he was going to have different channels of, you know, seniors that were doing accounting or woodcraft or painting or whatever. And seniors would then go to his site. It'd be an easier way to watch YouTube, but it wasn't finished. He didn't have anything up and running he could show us. But that was his plan. We're just going to lighten up some of this here while that's drying. That was his plan, okay? So I'm going to put a little bit of raw umber in this and magenta. So let's see, raw umber. All right, so that's, I don't want, now I'm just going to wipe this all off my brush. This is my trick. Not mix anything over there, just run my brush around it slightly. So I want kind of an off-white here. And this is sort of a warm peach color. So I had this sort of blue color. Now we're going to start warming this up. And just suggest that there's some folds of some fabric that are going this way. And something back. Wherever there's a light, there's a dark. So we'll do a little bit of light back here behind this vase. Kind of coming up this way, and maybe a little bit of blue. Let's see, let's do a little bit of blue-green color. That's pretty. He had some of that. It's sort of, I'm just sort of, we need a little bit of a shadow under the lemons here. So it's going to put a little shadow under here too, right? And this lemon's going to have a little bit of a shadow here. And then maybe as we go further out, this will still have a shadow, but maybe not be so. Maybe we'll run it up here a little bit, up this way. Say there's something. There we go. All right. Looks good, right? Just kind of scribble this on here like that. Yes and yes. Do something like that. All's good, yeah? There's our background. I like that tablecloth, don't you? Look how fast that was. Okay, so then the third meeting where he sent the contract, you know, we had some things, there were a lot of things about the contract that had to be changed, but I've certainly seen contracts similar to this before, and you've got to change a lot of stuff. And, you know, you've got to have access to the books and all that stuff, and these kinds of things, and, you know, be able to have an accounting, and, you know, when you're going to get paid, if, you know, they're getting 15% of this new business, but when are we going to see money from it? All those kinds of things you have to do. But so then when we got to talking to him on the phone, suddenly it was no longer new to business. He wanted a piece of this art channel.
No,
Wow.
the Academy.
And the Academy, the Art Academy. After a year, he wanted a piece of the Art Academy. And
anything else we may come up with.
And anything else he made, any other business we made. And not only that, but he wanted all the money that we were, which isn't a lot, trust me, it's like zip, but it means a lot to us. You know, so the money that we were, from the minute we signed the contract, any ad money that YouTube sent us, which isn't very much, but, you know, would go directly to him, and then he would pay us the 15% of that.
You know, he'd pay us 85, he keeps his 15.
Yeah, he'd keep his 15. But then, and John thought I was upset over the 15. I said, no, I don't know him. Who are we giving money to? We don't know him from Adam. We don't know what his bank account is. What if he just keeps it? Or what if he keeps, you know, I mean, it just, so many flags went up on this, and my daughter and I got to talking, and apparently she had been scammed not too long ago by somebody who promised her great things. This happens to artists, and we have to kind of protect each other. I want to protect you from this kind of stuff. It was interesting, but it felt icky to have it happen. How's that? All right, do you think this is dry enough to paint something else right there? I don't know. I gotta have to dry that, but just don't have to. John, can you show him Taz or something somebody did, or have something you show him? All right, then just this takes 5 seconds. Moment of silence, please. There, just a moment of silence needed. That didn't want to carry on too far with that. All right, so here's what I'm going to paint first. I'm going to paint this first flower. And it starts off as, like I say, a rectangle in the middle.
A rectangular flower.
A rectangular flower. And then it has a little thing coming off of there, and then like a little fleur-de-lis, almost like that shape, like here, up here at the top. And then at the bottom, there's like this little fleur-de-lis shape too, this way. Fleur-de-lis is French, and it's a, you know, the fleur-de-lis was the sign of, this is coming down here, this is all fatter up here, and then over here on this one, we have a little bit of a flower that's facing this way, and we don't see much of it, it's just going there like that, little white flower. His little friend, right? And this one's doing this, and this one's coming on up here to a point up here, like that. Now, and to show some depth on that one, we have to, you know, make it darker in the center. So what we do is take a little bit of yellow oxide and umber, okay, and then in the center here, right up in here, we make this a little bit darker, and then come on up this way with that color. And we're going to suggest that this is darker there, and then he did a little bit of blue up here like that, a little bit of blue up here on this flower, a little bit of blue in the center. Then he did a little bit of purple, blue, and white in the center of this one. Right here, this one sort of came up here like this and had that. A tiny bit of that purple color there. And there. And then a little bit of, I'm still in these colors, a little bit of light purple here on the edge of the vase, like that, okay? So as long as we're doing that, let's do a little bit of light up here and a little bit of light purple on the inside of that, just as long as we're doing it. There, see? So we're starting to build up our flowers. Now those were the two purplest flowers. And then there was another white flower about yay that came up here like that, a little bit smaller and not so pronounced, I don't know, sort of something like this, almost 3-petal looking affair here. And then one up this way that was white, kind of just this little fleur-de-lis part, okay? And and then we had a flower going this way that was coming off of that, like a V on its side, and then the inside did this. So there, you got a flower there. And let's put a little more paint on this one. Okay. I mean, it's very loose. It's Impressionism. It's very loose, yeah? So we had that. Now, the rest of the flowers were in white and magenta. So let's take a little bit of magenta and white and a tiny bit of yellow to that, because there's a tiny bit of kind of warm, there's almost a peach color to that. All right, and let's come off of, let's say we've got a flower coming like that, okay? Then it's like a bell here. We're gonna do a flower like this and just do a bell. And come on up over here and do another one. Just another bell here, and then one up here like this. Something like that. Here's this one. And I'm just doing the ones where they're kind of falling off here. So if you've got a bell here like this, kind of out like that, you've got a bell curved up this time, going this way. It's curving up, and you've got a bell on the top of this curving around. And you've got a bell here. You've got something here and something here. Now, before I get too much further, I'm going to go more into the magenta and make something a little darker. I want a little bit of a darker. Let's just go right into the magenta. I want a little bit darker in a couple places, just like that on this part. And I want to come over here, maybe make some darker color. Here's this darker area right here. There you go, see that? We're going to come around here with just a little bit of the darker color. And then what I'm trying to do is figure, well, where else can I put this light? I can put a little bit of this color, this sort of light pink color right there. And then as I come up here, this is interesting. I'm going to start with the, let's put a little orange in this because it got a little redder. Let's come up here with a little bit of orange color. Come up this way, and this way, and that way, and that way, okay? Now, right here, we have a flower. That's just here. It's just kind of growing off the lip here. And then I've got another flower that's going this way, almost a square, but not quite. And then down here, I've got another one tucked under here that's tucked this way. In order to define it, we're going to have to play a little bit with the lights and darks of it, okay? So moving on, we're going to come back up here to these and do a few like this. And then as we get up closer, we're just going to fill that in a bit more. And we're not really talking about too much of this. We're just saying all this sort of goes this way, and it's all dark in here with the reds. And we'll just add some light colors kind of around here to make this work. So that's that. Okay, with me? This is, I think that I got that white flower up too high, but that doesn't matter. I'll put another white flower right there. So, what about these? Well, a little bit of magenta and cad red medium now. We're getting into some darker colors. We're going to suggest that there's some colors, there's some flowers coming off the stem. It's very loose. I'm not kidding. We're barely, there you go. And then on this one, we've got this triangle. I'm going to put a little white with it. I've got this triangle, diamond shape, I guess, flower right here. It's coming around like that. And a little bit of pink coming off the edge of these, right like that. And a little bit of pink flower here, and we've got another little kind of pink flower coming up this way. And then we're back up into our little buds coming off the edges of these, like that. And maybe another little tiny flower right here. The original painting was 65 centimeters by 54. What would that be in inches?
Becca, what's 55 centimeters? How many inches?
55 centimeters is about 21.7 inches.
So the 20, so like what, 16 by 25?
Probably 16 by 20, something like that. It was a little bigger than what I'm making. But you notice how I keep adding color. Now I'm adding a little cad red medium to these. I'm adding more colors.
And he kept it that loose?
Oh, it's absolutely that loose.
Huh, that's interesting.
Kept it that loose. And we're defining it by how we paint the inside of the centers. And also, listen, we're not doing an exact Renoir. You know, I'm sorry, we're not doing that, John. We're not doing that. But yeah, but we are going to put another flower in here like this. Say there's another big pink flower right here. And this one is going to be, here's the pink center on this one. And then something up here like that. So that's, you know, we've got to, it's got a little pink on this one. But basically, what we're doing is, now I'm doing a little bit of white and magenta, like a little pink. What you've got to appreciate is that when you add these lighter colors, like for instance, I'm adding light colors here, this is where the flowers start coming to life. And I'm going to bring some of that magenta down into my white. Like for instance, over here on these flowers, like down here, there's white on these, and these like little bell flowers, there's the white on them, which actually makes the flower. This little bit of white here. And this little pink on this flower starts defining it. So as you build this up, it starts defining what all of this is. And we're going to put some light greens up in here. All kinds of colors are going to build up these flowers. So, you know, one thing about it, when I paint, I don't know about you, but if I can just get to painting, I can feel better. I hope, you know, that's the thing. I can absolutely feel better when I get to painting. And that's one of the keys. That's one of the reasons that painting is so helpful, is you can do that. You can just take a little phthalo blue and yellow and a little bit of umber and white.
We do have a question or two that's coming through email, if you'd like to.
Sure, I'd like to do that too while we're doing that. I want to lighten up my vase just a bit here. Yeah?
The art of thought. Is it possible to make this painting into a lesson? And what was your inspiration for adding your mother's quote to this painting? I realize it's a cover for a book with a collection of your paintings. Are there copies still available, or are you working on a new book?
The art of thought is actually a painting that could be a lesson. That's a good suggestion. And I don't have any more copies of the book available. The company that made it no longer exists. John and I have we have all the discs from that though. Remember when we cleared out the art room? We have the ingredients to publish another one. And
That may not be a bad idea. Revisit it and maybe revise it a little bit, update it.
Yeah.
For what's going on now.
Maybe add some new artwork to it. Okay. So that's the answer to that question, the art of thought. And I want a little bit of yellow on my vase here that's going to reflect a little bit of the lemons here, like that, see? There, look at that. So you see how we start to build up the colors, and this is good and dry, so I could start with some yellow on my lemons.
You get all through layers.
Yeah, see? There you go. You got yellow only paints over white. You guys remember that, right? When I tell you these things, that yellow only paints over white. And I want a little green on this lemon here. It's not quite ripe. A little bit of green right there. Get a little bit darker down there. And what we do is if I take a little bit of white and yellow, like that, I want a little lighter yellow for the top, you know, like that. There you go on the top of this one. Same here, that should be a little lighter. Maybe I can just take some white paint on this one because it's still wet. So that's a good email, John. I'm glad you looked at that. That's a good question. Somebody else asked us recently, how do you sign up for the Academy? It may be why I'm adding some lighter colors. You could tell people that. How do you sign up for the Academy, John?
At the Academy, what we call the Academy, it's the gingercooklive.gallery. And what we have there is monthly and yearly memberships and art coaching.
Well, what's personal art coaching if someone doesn't know?
Well, that's a good question. I was going to ask you that, and you can kind of go into that a little bit.
Well, the thing about it is, and I've got to say, not just personal, professional art coaching. It's one thing to ask for CCs that help on Facebook, and all your friends will talk to you, and you'll get some good help. And you get some good advice on that. Certainly wouldn't discount that. But you'll notice I'm doing some light yellow up here while we're discussing this, right? In between here, and kind of filling in some of this. And let me put a little bit of raw umber with that. It's just a bit bright. Let me show you the difference. It's still there, not quite so. Just aged it just a touch, right? And I'm not looking at mine now. I'm looking at Renoir's. I always like to look at the original first, second time, even when I'm doing it, because I think that's helpful. So personal art coaching or professional art coaching is where you can send me your artwork even before, you might just send me a photograph and say, hey, Ginger, I'm thinking about, I want to paint this. What do you think? I'm going, oh, what's a nice way to say that's a terrible idea? Or I could say, what a beautiful photograph. And then you might later say, this is what I'm thinking of doing. I get a lot of people that are painting portraits for somebody, as far as particularly pet portraits. We get a lot of that, pet portraits. And which I think is sort of fun. We get a lot of that. There's a little bit of that inside in this flower too. Yeah. And yeah, we really do. And this is where phthalo green. I don't know why I'm fighting greens. If I had a phthalo green, why not use it? Let's use. Huh? Yeah, but I want those colors, so I'm going to use phthalo green anyway. Guess what? Phthalo green and white is such a nice color, and it's in this painting. See? It's hard to beat that color. It's a great color. So I can add a little phthalo blue to it, and it's in this painting like this. It's up in here like this in this vase. Phthalo green, a little blue, make it a little darker. There we go. There, because remember we got the olive background, and the phthalo green and blue really show on the stems of the flowers, kind of show up. So if we kind of add that color here, and maybe even put a little bit of yellow oxide with it, that's a good one too. It's indicate that this is sitting in a vase somewhere with a stem. Yeah, that's what you want in a couple places. Just sort of chuck this in a couple places. Just chuck that green in there. Make it believable. It's already looking kind of pretty. So people send me their artwork, and I can record a video on my computer and actually get into a drawing program, draw right over what somebody's painted without ever offending them, because I haven't touched their painting. And then we can create, how it might be. Then I can show you before and after. Say, this is what I think you could do, and you can send it back to me and say, how does that look? And if at this point we can post it on Pinterest. I'm going to make that a little darker under here, and which is kind of neat. We love doing that, and and we have a student board for our Art Academy students, and I'd love to be able to, highlight the artwork and show people what you're painting. And I'm very proud of what people are painting, and also it helps me understand what's not being explained in a lesson. So we put a new thing in with our, we put a new thing into our,
we've added a new question.
A new question, and that is, can we show your video pack to someone else to help someone else? And what we decided to do with those, that people have said yes, very generously said yes, please use my video pack to sell. This does not go out to the public, but if it's an academy lesson, and I think it will help other people who are taking the same, looking at the same video, we're putting that under under the resources, so that if you're starting, say you're starting TAS, well, maybe someone else had trouble with the eyes, and so we'll just as a pack on fixing the eyes, so that you're not just struggling over and over with the same thing, kind of like Groundhog Day with what someone else is doing. Here, notice that we're putting some lights here now, so that not doing that, right? So just going to kind of fill this in.
Try to make the academy your one-stop shop to learn how to paint with acrylics.
Gosh, that's a wonderful way to put it, John. Just absolutely terrific. I'm going to just lighten up this around here like this and make that look like it's.
I was wondering if you're going to revisit those guys.
Yeah, we just started with those.
Yeah.
We just had to get some sort of color down so that we could still talk about them, right? So anyway, yeah, that's what we want to do, is be able to help you become the best artist you can be. And one of the things we tell people, just like on YouTube, we're happy if you want to sell a painting that you've done from an academy lesson.
There's no prints.
You can't paint prints, you can't license them. We own the copyrights to those. And we're happy for you to paint them. And be able to pay for more lessons or more art supplies or whatever your goal is.
Or to keep your subscription membership current with us.
Yeah, keep your subscription current with us. Notice how we're starting to get that depth into the painting here. We'll do a little dark center in these. And even in this one, even in this one, we're going to add a little dark center. This one's got one here.
Here's a question that's a little off topic, but one that's come in. As I'm getting ready for the holiday season, I'm working on the Einstein Nutcracker. And you mentioned your mom knew or met Einstein personally. You also said that you had mentioned why and how in another lesson. Can you please tell us about that again? I don't remember. I can't remember what lesson it's in. What's this all about?
Well, my mother, who died in 1948, was a world-famous psychic. She did readings for the Duke and Duchess of Windsor, Albert Einstein, President Roosevelt, Arthur Conan Doyle, just to name a few. And Harvard University declared her 98% accurate. Now, no psychic can be 100% accurate, because if I can say, John, I see where you could be hit by a train tomorrow, just don't go to the train station. You're okay, right? Then you're not going to get hit by a train. It can't be accurate. I had one psychic tell me that he gave me a reading one time for free, and said it was the worst reading he'd ever had in his whole life, and he didn't even charge me for it, and practically crying when he told me. And you know what? I thought, whatever's happening, that's not the outcome I choose to have. So I changed what I was doing and changed the outcome. Thus, 7 years later, John and I are getting married. We've got a great relationship.
Wait a minute, we are?
And
I'm always the last to know.
I know. And all those things, right? So, so nobody can be 100% accurate, but she was really a remarkable woman, and they started, getting her out to the public as early as 16. And in fact, there was a psychic debunker in at the time that thought he went around, and he was a magician. He went around kind of proving that all psychics were just fakes. And he found my mother to be the real thing, and she converted him. He just thought it was all crazy. So, whatever you feel about it, that's what she did. And she at one time did readings for Albert Einstein. And there's an interesting thing about that, in that if you look at this, there's a very close family resemblance to Albert Einstein for my brother and myself, out of the 5 kids. And that's another story for another day. But there's a lot of, I have a lot of friends who absolutely believe that we might have been related, old Albert and me, or whatever, Albert and I, right? So, just interesting gal, and I had 5 brothers. You know, there were 5 kids in the family, and
Yeah, what, 3 brothers and a sister?
3 brothers and a sister, and I have one my oldest, the middle brother now, no, second to the oldest brother is 80, and everybody else has long passed away. So my sister passed away some years ago. So that's what that's all about. And there's some articles about her. If you go to my Pinterest page under Who Am I think we posted a couple articles about that. I'm putting a little red down here with this lemon where maybe it wasn't ripe, kind of an orange color. And the same thing here. I've just added a little bit of orange here too. Okay. See, isn't that kind of pretty? And this is actually, I think, so much classier. This one is so much classier than this, just by adding that, by making it a little bit taller, the glads. You don't buy glads and put them in a short vase, you guys.
They're a tall plant.
They're a tall plant, and that's really probably not the wisest thing to do. Here's a little bit of a light one right here like this.
Probably the only vase he had around when he was shooting.
Well, you know what? That's true.
He
Here.
didn't have Amazon like we do. He didn't,
Oh, how, yes, gosh. Amazon.
life before Amazon.
Yeah. People just won't get it. But see how pretty this is? Look how beautifully this came out. And it really did, I think, too. I think this really came out nicely. And I might just lighten up this top of this vase even more here, like that. Maybe come under here like this. Put that on the handle. It doesn't hurt to do a few little light things. Okay, here's the lip, like that. And we've got, I think, and you see, it didn't take much to create, you know, it didn't take that much. I got a little bit of green maybe that's coming in this one, like that. A little bit darker green here. Here. There you go. I mean, I think this is a very, probably a more simplified version than his, but if you looked at his after watching mine, I think you would know how to paint it. How's that? Let's try a little bit of this soft green now. Now this is where color surprise comes in. We know that we want some of this light green here, and maybe some light green here. There, see, like that. We'll bring that out, and let's get some bright color now. Let's start with some bright color in the flowers. Cad red. Here's some straight magenta. Second coat over green. Let's just brighten up some of this. Sometimes you can darken the color underneath. Sometimes it's the center that you want to darken.
Look at all the different in the brush stroke, how many colors there are. Again, we're talking about layers here. Lots and lots of layers of color.
Just it's fun. I mean, when you look at how you paint something like this, it's fun. Yes and yes?
Yes and yes.
So here, I'm going to look back to a little cad red. Just a little color surprise. Just a few little dots of color here and there. You don't have to... I don't even have to explain the colors. Does that make sense? I'm just popping a little bit of red here and there as I see it at this point. There. So I've got my beautiful vase of glads. And if you're loving this painting, I'm telling you what, we've got some great paintings coming up in the Academy. And on YouTube, this was called Single White Flower. Single white flower. I love that, like single white female. Single white flower is 12 by 12. And that's Academy. That's a lesson coming up on YouTube real soon. And another one that I like, 12 by 12. This is our lotus flower, meditation lotus flower, and I love this. It's on a black canvas, 12 by 12.
Yeah,
Those are
the original sketch was done
on
blue,
purple blue, and just
blue.
didn't work. And we've got this, and this is our candle lotus flower.
And again, that's another one we redesigned because we did a small one, and it talked about in the lesson.
And didn't like it. We've got some great academy lessons coming up. Let me just show you this. The release for this week for the academy is
All goes according to plan.
what it should be. We're right about that. This is
Taz.
this is not Taz. This is our
Trickster.
Trickster, the card dog. Instead of the yard dog or the guard dog, this is Trickster. He's on an 18 by 24 inch canvas. That's in our Art Academy. So if you want to know more about that, and we appreciate that very much if you want to learn more about that. If you just like flowers, some of our older Academy lessons are awesome. I love this one from one of our old dead guys, Dutch artist. We've got the fly in the clear vase with the water. This, I think, is beautiful. How great would this one look with it? I love this right here, this one with the lemons and the... Don't you think these would be nice if you painted this one a little bigger and made these as a pair to go together? I think they could certainly fit. That would go. The other one, there's a YouTube lesson that we did some time ago that would also look very nice with this. I'd probably put it this way, pick up the yellow of the lemons. And again, these are, that's a tutorial that's on YouTube right now. So this is our I think our Gladiolus came out beautifully. I like them. They're very impressionistic. I think you will not going to have any trouble doing these. Let's make sure we have enough color surprise. I want to thank everybody that contributed to our Karen Little Scholarship Fund today. And I know that if you notice that we probably during the premiere event, probably somebody benefited from that. And so we thank you very much. And anytime you want to help someone else get a, that's too big a brush. You know, maybe you'd like to, you know, sponsor somebody for an academy, you know, a month at the Art Academy. You know somebody, you know, feel free to just contact us or just go to our website. And if you want to know about our adventures, what we're doing now, make sure you're signed up for our newsletter. Let's see, you get a little bit of red one coming right up here like that. There. You don't get to skate on me here. That one needs to be a little bigger. This one needs to be a little bit bigger here. That's it. Here we go. You faded out on me. Get back. No fading. We're not having this fading stuff. Acrylics sometimes dry the fade a little bit. I'm going to sign this. I think this came out exactly the way I wanted it to. Again, his vase had all these flowers painted on it, and he had grapes, and then he had peaches, and he had pears over here. And I mean, what was the subject? I mean, I was confused. I didn't want to put flowers on here on the. Didn't want to do any of that.
From the vase?
Well, on the vase, yeah, these little flower vase. He had this flower vase and these peaches and these grapes, and I just thought, you know, what can I take away and not ruin the effect? And I thought, boy, the first thing I'm taking away is the flowers, yeah. And I think I might just do a little bit of light here on the vase right here, like this, just because it could be pretty. There you go, just a little bit, just because I can, right? Because I think that's nice. There we go, just something like that. There we go. So I hope you've enjoyed this. And again, if you like it, subscribe to the channel. Join our Facebook club. It's free. Let me see what you're painting. Where do you want to be next year as an artist? Put that in the comments. Let me know. I want to hear about what you're doing. And what's your goals? Let's hear about it. Let's find out. And what would you like to see on our channel that would make your heart sing? So I'm already cheered up. I hope I prevented you from getting scammed and As I sign the name Cook, I want to just thank Judy for the song she sings at the end of our video. I always like to leave you with a message from my heart, and thank you for being part of our art community. Art hugs from John and I.